Hey everybody, welcome to Neil Talks. My name's Neil and it's time to talk The Mandalorian. And last time, wow, after saving Grief Karga and the citizens of Navarro, the Mandalorians have been gifted a homestead on Navarro, a place to call their own, a proper home for the first time since they were scattered across the galaxy after the Great Purge. But they have bigger plans than that. The armorer has decided now is the time to start bringing all Mandalorians back together of all different persuasions, so to speak, whether they believe in the way, how they interpret the creed doesn't matter as much, she's realizing. And she's actually told Bo-Katan to take her helmet off and to go out into the galaxy and find more Mandalorians, bring them back to Navarro with the ultimate goal of retaking Mandalore. Um, as we know, Din and Bo-Katan, they've both been there. It isn't poisoned. It's devastated, absolutely, but they can return and they can rebuild and they can reform this great society that the Mandalorians used to be part of. They can come out into the sun again. So yeah, we've got that. I'm tantalized by what I saw last episode, and I don't want to get too excited, but so much of it hinges on us seeing Zeb, who really just had a couple of throwaway lines in the pilot bar. And if you didn't know who he was because you haven't seen Rebels, he's just another strange-looking Star Wars character. But they invested a lot into his CG build. They did him right. He looked so good. And it feels like a ton of work for what amounts to less than 2 minutes of screen time. Which gets me excited for Ahsoka, because Ahsoka's hooking up with some other rebels. We know that much for when her series kicks off. And if she's hooking up with those other rebels, it now seems quite likely that sooner or later we're going to see Zeb over on that side. And the reason that gets me excited right now, aside from being a huge Ahsoka fan, is if some of the characters we're seeing here in The Mandalorian are going to be appearing in Ahsoka, maybe we're going to get a couple more cameos before it's all said and done. And how cool would it be to get a Sabine Wren showing up in the next episode or two? If we're going out and finding Mandalorians all over the place, well, Bo-Katan knows Sabine. Sabine's how she got the Darksaber in the first place. How cool would that be? So I would... I'm crossing my fingers for that in the next two episodes. Obviously, there's no guarantees. I don't want to get my hopes up because I don't want to be devastated if it doesn't happen, but it's hard not to get excited by the possibilities. And you do have to wonder who's out there on the bad side. We know Moff Gideon has been broken out. He's escaped from his prisoner transport shuttle. He was going to trial. He never arrived. Somebody broke him out and clumsily tried to frame the Mandalorians for doing it by leaving a chunk of Beskar embedded in the wall of the shuttle. I don't know what the New Republic is going to make of that evidence, whether they're going to fall for it or whether, like, there's so many options for what could, like, it could be a frame job, it could be a group of Mandalorian mercenaries. There's no singular ideology amongst Mandalorians. We've seen proof of that over the last 2.5 seasons. So it could be a group of Mandalorians that did it, but Beskar doesn't tend to break. So how did a chunk of it end up in the wall? It feels like planted evidence. In any case, who engineered that escape? I almost don't want to put the possibility out there, but could it be Grand Admiral Thrawn? We know Thrawn is still out there. Thrawn got hurled somewhere we know not just prior to the original trilogy of movies. We don't know how long he was gone. But we know Ahsoka was looking for him last season here in The Mandalorian. So, man, if he shows up, how freaking cool is it going to be to get live action Thrawn? I shouldn't be anticipating all these super cool things that we're definitely going to see in Ahsoka. I got a funny feeling we're going to get a taste. You know what I mean? Just a tease here. To really get people hyped for Ahsoka that may not know her because they haven't done the cartoons yet. And let's face it, that's a large chunk of the Star Wars audience. They haven't seen Clone Wars, they haven't seen Rebels, they haven't seen Bad Batch. By the way, I'm going to be diving into Bad Batch once we're finished this season of Mandalorian. So keep an eye out for that. But I'm excited is the point. The story feels like it's got real direction all of a sudden. And I'm eager to dive back into it. So let's do that, guys. This is what episode is this? This is episode 6 of season 3 of The Mandalorian. So we're going to see all the Night Owls.
One of what?
Making their way through the galaxy as mercenaries.
I am going to Mandalore.
Yeah, they could have broken Gideon out. Oh, does that count? Does that count? Winning the Darksaber in battle right there?
Without the creed.
Was that enough?
It's time to retake Mandalore.
Alright. What ship is this? What do we have here? Lunch? Yeah. Is this the Empire, or is this the New Republic?
We were not aware of the majestic Imperial presence in this sector, and we will gladly hire your protection.
We are not Imperial, either. We are Mandalorian.
Oh.
We've been commissioned to track you down, Captain Shuggoth.
Mercenaries for hire.
You see, we were already hired by a certain Mon Calamari viceroy who has reason to believe you absconded with her son. I know it was for love.
I won't go.
What do we have?
We love each other.
Sorry, I gotta bring you back home to your folks.
Please go. I can't destroy everything I've built for a childish fling.
Oh.
Is that all this was to you?
Yep, clearly.
That's not what I meant.
Basic's not my native tongue.
I thought Mandalorians were honorable.
We are, kid. All it takes is a few credits.
Alright. They got themselves quite a ship. Guns for hire. So we're just hanging out with... So have we flashed back a little? Are we gonna see them break Gideon out, perhaps? Or are we just gonna... Whoa, where's this? Is this where they've moved? This is beautiful.
That's quite a fleet.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to assemble it.
Could come in real handy taking back Mandalore.
Axe Woves is their leader now.
Welcome to Plasia 15, the Outer Rim's only remaining direct democracy. I've been assigned a docking slip.
Okay. This is Plaisier 15, did they say?
I guess we're going for a ride.
Yeah. Wow. I dig this place. What's its dark secret?
Why do they have Imperial droids on an independent world?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Ugh, it makes you just feel like Gideon's kicking around somewhere.
Do you grant permission to scan your chain code?
Passports, please.
And Bo-Katan Kryze. Your presence has been requested by the leadership of the planetary democracy. This is not a request.
Okay. Does Grogu have a chain code?
Do you think we're gonna have to blast our way out of here?
We'll find out.
It'd be a shame to ruin it. It looks very nice.
Join us! Come!
What have we walked into?
Come!
Is that
Honey,
Jack Black?
let's address the bantha in the room. I was once
It-
a facilities planning officer during the war, and thanks to the New Republic Amnesty Program, I was able to help rebuild Plaza 15.
He oversaw the rebuilding of this planet on which my family served as nobility since it
Their
was
guards are
originally
still
built
wearing
and
like stormtrooper
fell
armor.
in love.
We did fall in love.
What have we walked into here?
Could I perhaps hold the baby?
Okay.
You are so fast.
And the Mandalorian privateer warships docked in your fields?
Oh, we hire them for protection.
I'd like to speak to these privateers.
There is just one condition.
What?
Show our guests the view.
What is going on here? This is so bizarre.
A droid problem.
What kind of droid problem?
Malfunction.
A coordinated malfunction.
We think.
I mean, nothing too serious at first.
What have
like
the droids
power
done?
cycles, deleted task stacks.
Then it got worse. Assault.
Assault?
Respectfully, what does this have to do with us?
Our constables are ill-equipped to confront battle droids.
Battle droids?
They've been rehabilitated for civic duty.
We thought.
They were.
Obviously not.
The Mandalorian garrison outside your city walls can make quick work of your battle droids.
They're not allowed inside.
You see where we're going here?
Guns
You
for
want to
hire.
eliminate your droid problem.
Exactly.
Tended to convey is that I would hope
He's
that this...
purring.
What do you think?
You had me at battle droids.
These droids
Just itching for a good
are
fight.
programmed to serve the community from the stockpile.
There he is.
Imperial robotics scheduled to
Oh my gosh.
until one day an isolated event.
Oh no. Rebel droid.
This is just a small collection of malfunctions that our security cameras caught.
Oh no. Oh no.
Why not turn them all off? Who's in charge of that?
I
Uh-huh.
fail-safe cutoff switch. However, the citizens voted against any interruption in droid services. They can't live without it.
And it's a pure democracy. Ah.
If we shut down the droids, our citizens wouldn't know how to survive. You'll have to go to the lower level and speak to the Ugnaughts.
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 See what happens when you rely on droids?
Are you taking this personally?
Yep.
Just pointing it out. I am Mandalorian Din Djarin, friend of Ugnaught Queel. You will answer our questions
Oh.
and help us with our task. I have
Dropping the
spoken.
Queel card. I have spoken.
We were engaged to hunt down and eliminate the malfunctioning droids.
There are no such droids.
Citizens have been harmed by these malfunctioning machines.
This is not the case. I have spoken.
The stories of Ugnaughts' skill with smithing droids are legendary. We know that Ugnaughts are considered the hardest working species in the galaxy. We will investigate the dangerous incidents. We would appreciate your help.
He's a diplomat.
We are in your debt. I have spoken.
Nice to call back Queel.
Any of them look suspicious?
They all look suspicious.
Oh, it's so weird. This is...
We have a few
Wow.
Their base function was warfare.
I thought they were just checked out.
They were. What are you doing?
Then this shouldn't faze them.
Sir?
Whoa. There we go. Malfunction.
Recertified, huh?
You should have left them alone.
Okay. Oh, it looks so good. What is going on? What is making them do this? Jeez. I've never seen a battle droid run like this. Which one of them got him?
This is a crime scene. Thank you for standing back.
Why am I totally reminded of Wall-E right now? I half expect these little ones to start vacuuming.
The resistor.
Sounds like a droid bar.
Alright, it's a clue.
You kicking droids is really not helpful.
I figured out which one was malfunctioning, didn't I?
You did it your way, now let me do it mine, okay?
I love this team up. Oh, that's some good oil. You're cut off, man. This is so awesome. This is the most Star Wars episode of Star Wars anything ever.
There has been a string of malfunctions that all point to this oil can.
We are in full compliance with planetary hierarchical.
If you don't start answering questions, I'll yank your memory circuit and dissect it back at the lab. Nobody leaves.
Looking at you, C-3PO.
Look, you are not helping. Just because the
He's prejudiced.
happened to visit here doesn't mean that this one is in on it.
I want to help. We are worried that if these horrible incidents continue, we will be.
You'll be what?
Shut
There
down.
are concerns among my customers that we will be replaced.
Well, these catastrophes don't help your argument.
Exactly. That's why we need your help. Here, droids are served nepenthe. It seems the malfunctioning droids all imbibed from the same batch of nepenthe.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's been messing with the nepenthe. I knew it.
We're looking for programming subparticles.
What are the chances that they're still active?
Oh. Jeez. Pretty high, I'd say. No droids.
They're still active.
They're actually nanodroids.
How did nanodroids get into the nepenthe?
So they've got a virus. It's code.
It's writing.
It's basic.
It's a chain code. Originally manufactured by the Techno Union. Been in
Frickin'
cold storage
Techno
for
Union.
ages. They were requisitioned by the security office.
Is that unusual?
It's illegal.
Security office.
Commissioner Hellgate.
Oh. Huh. He wants to get rid of the droids.
Commissioner, we have some questions for you.
Sorry, we know about the nepenthe and the nanodroids.
Everyone freeze! If I trigger this failsafe, it will convert the planet's docile workforce back into battle droids. Don't make me do it.
There's no way out, Commissioner. Give yourself up.
Give up? I didn't give up to the corrupt Republic. I didn't give up to the Empire. And I won't give up to you.
You're a separatist.
Separatist is a pejorative term.
You drank Dooku's Kool-Aid.
Visionary. He was cut short in his prime.
He was a
by
puppet.
The Jedi enforcers.
Yeah. Oh, we got a separatist. Okay. Problem solved, presumably? Okay, we're basically... Grogu's cheating.
What are you doing with Commissioner Hellgate?
We found the cause of your malfunction.
If his name is Hellgate, maybe that should be a clue that he's not great.
I had a feeling you hated me.
I'm disappointed in you, Commissioner. As for now, you must live in exile on the moon of Paraquat. Lady Bo-Katan Kryze and Din Djarin of
What is that walking in the background?
our highest honor, the key to Plazier.
It's an actual key. What is this
Always
episode?
be welcome in our domed paradise. And to this little one, I grant knighthood.
We're dubbing him Sir Grogu.
A knight of the Ancient Order of Independent Regencies. Go in
Ancient
peace, brave
Order.
travelers, until our paths meet again.
I thought they were sneaking in an acronym there for a second.
They're going to follow you.
I'm not their leader anymore.
I don't think we got that previously on clip. If the chain of the Darksaber has come to her. They're just playing catch?
Have you come back to join the mercenaries? I'm now in command and grown quite fond of it.
Then I challenge you.
Okay.
One warrior to another. Do you accept my challenge?
That's the play. Of course he does. You can't back down. Like, is this supposed to be to the death, or can they just sort of yield? It's so weird having this out on like a sunny field where they're basically having a Mandalorian picnic. Oh. Love that shield.
You'll never be the true leader of our people. You won't even take the Darksaber from him.
One, I might add, who has not one drop of Mandalorian blood in his veins.
Din Djarin took the creed and chose to walk the way. He is every bit the Mandalorian that they were. Certainly as much as any of us.
The ruler of Mandalore must possess the Darksaber.
Then she shall have it.
Yeah, she can't.
It belongs to you.
It's not a gift to be given.
No. But
It's not a gift.
he hasn't used it since either, has he? Well, no, that's not true.
Exploring Mandalore, I was captured, and this blade was taken from me. Bo-Katan rescued me and slayed my captor.
With the blade.
Would this blade then not belong to her?
Loophole, but we got there. We were wondering how.
It would.
I return this blade to its rightful owner.
Wow. Nice. We saw how well she wielded it. Bryce Dallas Howard. We saw how well she wielded it against that enemy that took it from Din. That weird creature within the droid, within the droid, within the droid. Oh, that's Lizzo. Okay, cool. I do not keep up with my modern music, but I've heard of her. That was a fun episode, but it was a weird one, wasn't it? There were some striking tone shifts in that episode. We start by seeing what Axe Woves and the rest of his, what used to be Bo-Katan's fleet are up to. They're mercenaries. They're taking random jobs in the Mid-Rim, collecting runaway princes and helping defend this independent world. Good work if you can get it, but the first 90% of this episode felt almost tongue-in-cheek. It leaned so heavily into look at all the aliens, look at all the droids. And don't get me wrong, I love stuff like this in small doses. If this was the entire series, I think I'd go really tired of it. It was a lot of fun in this episode, but it just feels different from what we've had for the last handful of episodes, where the show started getting a little more serious and focused. This felt like a diversion, our time on Plaisir 15. But man, was it cool. You know, we had a little mystery here. We got some great cameos. We had Christopher Lloyd and Jack Black and Lizzo, apparently. It's great when there's cameos. It's almost distracting when there's such famous faces. You're sort of... I find myself thinking, oh, Jack Black must be a huge Star Wars geek. You can just imagine it, thinking about stuff like that. I love that, you know, why would Christopher Lloyd be the security chief just to send us on, give us a little bit of exposition and send us on our way, unless he also had a bigger role to play? So you sort of assume that he's more involved than it appears at the beginning. And of course, yes, he's the bad guy at the end. And he's a separatist. Like so many ties to the greater Star Wars universe here. Dooku got a shout out in this episode because as much as the separatist movement was ultimately just a ploy on the part of Palpatine, there were people that really believed in Dooku. Dooku was charismatic AF, and people followed him and believed in the cause, and believed in an alternate to the late Republic. It was such a sunny, bright, clean episode. This is not how Star Wars normally looks. This episode almost felt more like Star Trek. Pristine and clean and polished and brand new. Every droid in Plaisir 15's glossy and shiny, and they take care of everything. So there's nothing's dirty, nothing's broken, nothing's piecemealed back together and repaired. It's all shiny and new, and it feels weird in the world of Star Wars, where we know that's not typically the case at all. But of course there's places like that in the galaxy. Of course there's places that have figured it out. They're these ridiculous societies, ultimately. It made me feel very much, it felt so much like WALL-E. And what was the name of the ship? The Axiom, that everyone's off on this, perpetual voyage until Earth cleans its shit up. But they don't do anything. They just lounge around the pool because robots take care of everything on that ship as well. And this is basically an Earthbound version of that, living under this dome of paradise because the droids do everything. And crazy seeing live action battle droids, the Roger droids from the Clone Wars, tons of R2 and C-3PO lookalikes, and so many others. It just felt like they picked this episode to cram it full of extras. Not necessarily real people in costume, but certainly a ton of CG extras, droids, and every flavor of alien you could imagine. Random creatures walking by and flying by in the background of so many shots. Really densely packed streets and bars for that foot chase as we're chasing down the battle droid. And I'm really impressed with those droids all felt real. They did not feel CG. Now, obviously, a bunch of them are nothing but digital, but when they interacted with them, when Din was kicking the battle droids, when he dove through a window and tackled the runaway one, it felt solid and physical and real. I don't know how they do it exactly, but I'm impressed. I was sold. Like the technology's there. It looks right. Yeah, man. It's amazing that we're getting that level of visual effects on a TV show. And not like a season finale, just like episode 6 on this run. Kudos to the VFX team for this show in general, but for an episode like this with so many digital characters, my hat's off. Wow. So we solved the problem of getting the Darksaber into Bo-Katan's hands. I think that's the big takeaway, because we had all this fun and games until we finally got permission to go talk to Axe Woves and the rest of the fleet, the Mandalorian fleet there. And it's bright and sunny. It feels like a picnic on this grassy lawn. But it turns into a challenge for the leadership of this tribe of Mandalorians almost immediately. And while Bo-Katan does defeat Axe Woves, she's always been a great warrior. We didn't doubt that. there's still the issue of she can't be the one to lead because she doesn't have the Darksaber. It's not hers. And yet, I wish they hadn't done the previous Leon the way they did, because as soon as they did it, you're like, oh, we're following the path of the Darksaber, and we wouldn't be doing that if we weren't going to give it a new owner. And that's exactly what we did. When we were deep in the mines of Mandalore, we came across that super creepy eye that drove a spider mech, and it defeated Din, and Grogu went for help, and Bo-Katan came and saved the day. And yes, she absolutely took the Darksaber off of it, used it to kill that creature. It's hers, and I remember commenting on at the time during that episode. It's like she could have kept it at the time, but maybe she didn't feel that she earned it in that moment. She laid it out with the rest of Din Djarin stuff while he was still unconscious from whatever it had stabbed him with. Along with the rest of his armor and weapons, it was all right there, and he just suited up again. But he understood but Din clearly understood what happened. It's not the most majestic transfer of a weapon, but it doesn't feel like a cheat either. It just feels like it happened in the course of events. And as long as the other Mandalorians accept that, well, then we've got a real potential leader here. Bo-Katan had the Darksaber once before, but she made the mistake the first time of just receiving it as a gift from someone who thought she would make the better leader. And that failed because she hadn't earned it. But if she can believe that she earned it, it's clear the rest of this fleet does. It feels like we've got the support of the Armorer and therefore the Children of the Watch. It feels like we can start really bringing all the various tribes of Mandalore back together. Now, one of the things I thought we might get into this episode when we met up with Axe Woves at the beginning was maybe these guys were hired to bust Moff Gideon out. Why wouldn't they? They'd do any job if there's enough credits, right? So maybe they did. But who would have hired them? Or maybe somebody else did it entirely. We didn't touch on that storyline at all this episode. But right now, Din and Bo-Katan don't know anything about Moff Gideon other than the general rumors that were circulating, on Coruscant and everywhere else. The only person that really knows about this that we know is our pilot, and I'm blanking on his name right now, our X-Wing pilot from last episode. So I'm sure that's within New Republic Command right now, but what are they going to do about it, if anything? I don't know. 2 episodes to go, guys. 2 episodes to go. I cannot wait for next week. Let's get into the push to the end of this episode. Of this series. I don't know what it's all about yet. We've only, but love this show. It's so much fun. I always walk away with like sore cheeks at the end of an episode because you don't realize how much grinning you were doing during it. Thank you guys for hanging out here on Neil Talks for a little bit today. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for your comments down below. Thank you for doing all the fun algorithm things. And until next week, everybody, take care, stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Cheers.